Why do humans cook their food? Something I've been curious about for a long time is why we humans cook our food when no other animals do. Many animals eat plants and have a vegetarian diet, and many other animals eat raw meat, eggs, and seafood. But humans? We're different. We cook our food, which must seem weird to any other animals that notice. To understand why humans cook our food, you have to go back way back to a time when humans were just getting started, hundreds of thousands of years ago. In fact, scientific evidence shows that about 1.9 million years ago, Homo erectus suddenly grew larger brains, smaller jaws, and shorter guts. From a biological standpoint, such a radical shift would have been impossible without a massive calorie explosion, which cooked food provides. The evidence seems to point to the first instances of early humans cooking fish. At first, an animal or a fish may have been accidentally burned in a wildfire or a forest fire, but at some point it appears that humans started slow roasting fish on a fire. Over time, this became a universally practiced daily human behavior. Signs of cooking started to become abundant across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East starting around 400,000 years ago. By 170,000 years ago, both Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens left clear evidence of routinely roasting starch roots and vegetables in underground ovens. So, why would humans cook food? Well, the first reason is, well, it just tastes better. Cooking food brings out the complex flavors and creates very appealing aromas. It also softens the texture. Heat transforms hard plants and tough meats into tender, easy to eat textures that require much less chewing. The second reason is better digestion and nutrient availability. Heat breaks down complex carbohydrates and makes it easier for our bodies to break down softer foods, which requires less energy dedicated to digestion. Cooking ruptures tough plant cell walls, allowing digestive tract to absorb more vitamins, minerals, and calories than it could from raw or uncooked foods. The third is just as important reason, and that is cooking food kills germs. Cooking food eliminates dangerous pathogens. Raw meats, eggs, and seafood usually harbor microorganisms like salmonella, listeria, or other harmful bacteria. Cooking plants and vegetables renders plant toxins inactive, making staples like kidney beans and certain tubers safe to eat. And cooking food acts like a thermal barrier that destroys worms and larvae that are embedded in raw animal flesh. I know, it's gross to think that some fried fish you ate yesterday may have had some fried worms hidden in there as well. Yeah. But because the fish was cooked, the worm was killed, and you didn't see it, right? So what you don't see, as long as it's cooked, doesn't hurt you. In fact, the Food and Drug Administration in the United States says that a certain amount of bug parts are allowed in food as long as it remains below a certain level. This might change the way you think about your next meal, but things like peanut butter are allowed to have an average of 30 or more insect fragments per 100 grams. Chocolate can have an average of 60 or more insect fragments per 100 grams. Um, yeah, I could go on with this, but you get the idea. When you really think about it, I think anything that humans eat is kind of gross. But hey, as long as it tastes good. So, what impact has cooking had on our human evolution? Well, research in anthropology, the science and study of humanity, and research in biology, the scientific study of life and living organisms, describes how controlling fire altered human anatomy. Because cooked food provides more energy with less physical effort, early humans developed smaller jaws, weaker chewing muscles over hundreds of thousands of years. The massive surplus of easily absorbed calories directly fueled the rapid evolutionary growth of the human brain and led to anatomical changes like larger brains. The brain consumes 20% of our resting energy. Cooked food provided the massive calorie surplus needed to fuel and expand our complex brains. Smaller digestive tracts. Raw food requires a massive energy expanding gut to ferment and break down fiber. Cooking pre digests food, allowing humans to evolve much shorter, much more efficient colons. Reduced jaws and teeth. Because cooking food is soft, humans no longer needed heavy chewing muscles, thick jaw bones, or large teeth like molars. Behavioral and social changes. Now humans have more free time. For example, chimpanzees spend up to 6 hours a day chewing raw food just to get enough energy. Cooking reduced human chewing time to less than an hour a day, freeing up time for tool making, socializing, and languages. Fire also required cooperation with others. This gathered early humans around a central point, say a central fire. The social fire fostered the development of language, storytelling, and the division of labor. Now that humans have been cooking for so long, humans can no longer survive long term on a raw, wild food diet. I mean, maybe certain individuals can, but for the most part, humans cannot. Our bodies have adapted so completely to cooked food that a pure raw diet in modern humans overall often leads to chronic energy deficiencies or even food poisoning, or maybe both. In conclusion, cooking is not just a culinary art, it is the definitive technological catalyst that made us human. By applying fire to food, our ancestors unlocked a massive surplus of easily digestible calories. This chemical shift fundamentally reshaped human history across three distinct pillars. Our anatomy, it shrank our jaws and digestive tracts while directly fueling the rapid evolutionary growth of the human brain. Our society, it reduced hours of chewing to minutes, freeing up time needed to build language, tools, and community around the shared fire. And our biology, it transformed us into the planet's only cookivores, a species physically dependent on processed foods for survival. Ultimately, we're not just the animals that use tools, we are the animals that cook.